about that one over up here. Good afternoon, everyone. As we get started here, I'd like to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Brad Ritchie, who has a few words to say.
So, for all of you that have traveled from far and wide to be here this evening, welcome back to Milton-Union Schools. And for those of you who live close by, it's good to see you again. The first time that I had the opportunity to sit through this induction ceremony was just a few short years ago. And I was surprised at just how entertaining it was. A lot of folks from a lot of different school districts do Hall of Fame ceremonies, and I think these folks have really cornered the market on how this is done. And they really do a special job. So thanks to the Hall of Fame committee, and thanks to everyone who had anything to do with putting this event on. And by the way, the fellow behind me, Doc Yen, this is the guy that you want to MC this thing. This is your guy. He's going to do a great job. You're in great hands this afternoon. And also, congratulations to all of our inductees. It's a great honor for you. It's a great moment for you. But yay us, we are here for the entertainment value of this. This is going to be phenomenal. The recollections of Milton-Union history, how faith and friends and family and good coaching and great teammates, individual skill and ability really can translate to excellence on the court and on the athletic field. So it's a great moment for us. It's a great moment for Milton-Union Schools, and thank you for being here. It's been a while since we've had a chance to get together, right? I mean, the world's kind of moved on since 2020. So it's good to be back, and it's good to have all of you here and to conduct this ceremony again. So thank you very much.
Okay, well, as I said, good afternoon. Welcome to the 16th Milton-Union High School Hall of Fame ceremony. I used to say annual, but I can't say that anymore due to circumstances beyond our control for the last couple of years. It continues to be my honor, my distinct honor, to have been the master of ceremonies for all 15 prior induction ceremonies. And I know I speak for the Hall of Fame committee when I say that we are extremely happy to be back here honoring our athletes again after kind of an extended break. It's a great night of honor and recognition for our MU athletes. I hope you'll talk to some of them, greet them, friends, family, people that maybe you've admired, corner them and talk to them and find out what great people they all are. Every sport that Milton-Union High School sponsors is represented in our Hall of Fame currently. 49 of our 68 current Hall of Fame members have the sport of basketball on their resume. Football, baseball, softball, and track and field are the next most common sports played by Hall of Famers. 60% of the current Hall of Fame is male, 40% is female. Members whose impact on Milton-Union sports happened before 1980 comprise about 50% of the Hall of Fame, and then the other 50% is also, of course, people who had their impact after 1980. Reminder that this is not a solemn occasion, it's a joyous one. And we are here to reminisce, laugh, celebrate our athletes, so relax, let's have a great time. So starting off today, I'd like to recognize members of our high school administration who are in attendance today. From our Board of Education, we have Jessica Broombaugh, waving her hand there, Lori Ginn Parsons, and I didn't see anybody else here. Is there anyone else here? Our school administrators, you've met Dr. Ritchie, our high school principal, Mr. Sam Watson's in the back, and then our athletic director, Mr. Mark Lane, is also here in the back. I'd like to take a moment to recognize all of our current Hall of Fame members, and if you're in attendance when I call your name, please stand for a moment and be recognized. I tried to scan and make sure I picked everybody up. If I leave you out, please, at the end of this little roll call, please indicate so. Diana Broombaugh Finrock. She's always the first one. Terry Tyson. There's Terry. Sally Dickinson. Sally. Ron Berner. Over there. Mike Kelly. There's Mike. Lori Kinnison-Meyer. There's Lori. Kim Berner-Dorman. Clint Magel. Steve Broombaugh. I didn't see Rusty come in, Ron. See? Oh, there's Rusty. Hi, Rusty. Rusty Berner. John Broombaugh. Trent Thompson. Jessica Herkins Broombaugh, we met as one of the board members, and Ryan Paul. Then I'd like to recognize the following Hall of Fame members posthumously, and as they read their names, I will also indicate those people who are representing them, so those people please stand. Ken Hemrick, William Segan, Bill Fox, Charles Fox, Watt Farrar, Carl Broombaugh, who will be represented by his son Phil Broombaugh, David Kripe, Ron Peel, Ed Landensky, represented by his wife Carolyn, Dick Overla, Ralph Hildebrand, Bill Carnes, Rex Warner, Sharon Paul, is represented by her husband Gene Paul, and Tom Gingrich. So could I have a polite round of applause for all of our current and former Hall of Fame. I also speak for the Hall of Fame members when I tell you how much we appreciate you former inductees coming back and participating in this ceremony. Oftentimes there's significant travel involved and it's somewhat of a burden, but seeing you is such a pleasure, and all your teammates, classmates, friends, and admirers all hope you continue to attend and support our program. Okay, on to the introductions. To the newest Hall of Famers. I'm going to say a few things about each of you, and what I typically say is this. If what I say is incorrect, if it's better than what you actually did, just leave it. If you want to correct me, go right ahead, but if it's better, I suggest you just say go with it. All right, our first honoree today comes from the class of 1973, that's Kent Dews. As I said, it's a great honor for me to personally be up here speaking about our athletes, but the honor becomes even greater when I get to speak about one of my former teammates who's also my good friend. When I think about Kent Dews, I think of someone who was an excellent all-around athlete, participating in 3 varsity sports, football, basketball, and baseball, and of someone who, in addition to participating in those sports, was selected to the All-Southwestern Buckeye League team in all 3 of those sports. Kent, to me, was such a great complementary player whose versatility on the field, court, and diamond was kind of underappreciated at the time, but in retrospect was quite remarkable. In football, he played a little quarterback, a little end, and was a first-team All-SWBL safety in 1972. I wish there had been a 3-point line back when we played basketball together, because it was in his range on the court, and I really felt like he'd have been one of the first great long-distance shooters. In baseball, he could play any position from catcher to the outfield. He was an All-Ohio selection in football in 1972, and he won Milton's coveted Ted Studebaker Award in his senior year, which is given to the athlete who gets the most out of his ability. Kent coached middle school football, middle school track, varsity baseball, and spent 17 seasons as an assistant on the MU varsity football coaching staff. He was so highly regarded by his peers as a football coach that the Miami Valley Football Coaches Association elected him Assistant Coach of the Year in 2003. So with all that being said, I cannot remember having played with a person that I considered a better teammate than Kent. He was literally ready to do anything to help his team and teammates. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, he wasn't confrontational, but he was as solid as they come, and he was the kind of player you wanted on your team. Al Dom used to call him Red. My son Ben's group used to call him Red Pepper, but his teammates called him Rudy. I'm very proud to call him my friend, ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Kent Dews.
Wow, Bill, thanks. What a great honor to be here, to be selected as a member of the Hall of Fame. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for giving me this honor. It has been an exciting time for me and my family. And thank you for your efforts in building the Hall of Fame so we can honor the athletes of Milton-Union High School. Congratulations to the other members inducted tonight in the Hall of Fame. I also had 2 classmates that are in the Hall of Fame. I'd like to recognize them, Terry Tyson and Dave Fine. We had some good times together. Trying to remember back in the good old days, and had a lot of good times. And also grateful for our entire classmates, which wouldn't be without them. They push you. I'm proud to have my family here tonight to share this day with me. My boys, Travis, Ty ain't here. Ty, Liz with them, Travis and his wife, Tim and his wife, Mallory. Also here is Karen, my sister Kathy, my brother Mark and his wife, Brenda. Although my other brother Gary could not be here tonight, I will wish him the knowledge as him as well. I would like to thank my family, my parents, for the support they gave me growing up in high school and after I became a father and a husband. Should be the other way around. And I would like to thank my wife, Mindy. She put up with me a lot of bull while I was doing coaching and all that stuff. But I supported the boys and me out throughout. I know she'd be proud of us today. I could go on for a long time sharing memories and thanking countless people and talking about what it means to be a bulldog, but I'm going to keep it short and I'll get right to it. I would not be here if it wouldn't have been the impact of me growing in West Milton. And I would like to start off by talking about my Little League days, Pee Wee football, and two gentlemen that gave me endless hours of dedication to those who were playing Little League and high school baseball. Al Dom and Duke Small. There ain't much you can say about it. Those guys worked their hind ends off. And they worked at the park, ball diamonds, coach, mowed, and I think Duke mowed until he passed away, I believe, down at the park. And now ran the chain gang on the side of the football games. But those were good old days. There was a lot of people that looks up to Al and Duke in our age group that did so much to our kids at that age. There are many other influential people that are coaches and educators in my life as I grew older. Coach Rudensky, Jim Kennison, Walt Farrar, Dick Oberle, Mike Jones, Dennis Hunt, James Hauser, Mr. Neal, and Kenny Schaefer. Probably leaving some out, but all of them impacted me, numerous others, in a way that I carry with me today. I would like to especially mention Coach Oberle, because he's the one that, you had no choice back then. You had to hustle or not. And if you didn't hustle, we let you know, or you keep running and running and running and running. Finally, two people that I recognized when I was young, I idolized. I told them I was going to say this. One was Mike Kelly, the other one was Ronnie Hall. I looked up to those guys when I was young. And, well, by George, I'm in the Hall of Fame with them. And I really admire those guys. A couple of special moments for me as a player. Excuse me, I got a cold. First, in baseball, we went to the state finals. In baseball, we got beat. But the team, I really enjoyed the town atmosphere. The whole city of West Milton was there. We got beat. We ended up second, but that was a good experience. Next was my senior year in football in our homecoming. We played Tip City, and Tip City was driving toward the goal line, and I intercepted the pass to take the wind away from it. And back then at Tip City, nothing against people who live in Tip, but we didn't care for them back then. And another thing was when we played Northmont basketball, excuse me, I made the winning shot to beat Northmont. And when we beat Northmont, bigger schools it was. But I'm going to tell everybody the truth. I wasn't supposed to shoot it. You're supposed to feed it to a guy named Tim Goins. He wasn't open. I said, heck with it. Shot. We made it. Good thing I did. Another part of my time with Milton-Union was the impact it has on me is coaching. Coach Farrar asked me to coach junior high football. After going through all the right channels, asking my wife, asking my boss to work and everything, I did that for a couple of years. Of course, Coach passed away. Then a guy named King Costello asked me to coach varsity. I said, I ain't got any experience. No, I go learn, go teach them, blah, blah, blah. And, but it wouldn't be for him, I would probably never coach football. So that gave me the chance to do it. And he's here today. I don't know where he's at. Thanks, Coach. But little did I know, I found something I enjoyed in coaching. I spent 16 years on the varsity coaching. Number one, you gotta enjoy the kids. Then secondly, love the game of football. Having the opportunity to not only coach the kids, but also have the impact of those the coaches who coached me. There were some great memories I have on my coaching days. Beating Versailles, the state championship team, 1990. All the coaches' clinics. It was good times. Coaching all my boys, beating Tip City, making the playoff for the first time in Milton in 2002. I coached with some of the great guys. I had a lot of good memories with them. Dana Dickinson, Tim and Tony, Joe Blackburn, and the late Mike Berry, Mike Berry, and Terry Shelley, and along with the other coaches throughout the years. Thank you for all the memories and the impact you had on me as a coach. And a special thanks to the head coaches at the time who gave me a chance to coach as Ken Costello, like I said, Tony Sargent, Rip Engel, and now Brett Pierce. Spent a lot of years with Brett Pierce. Thanks, Coach. And they've done a great job sending the teams to the playoff and everything. They'll be back next year, too. I ain't putting pressure on them. I'll give you that. Because the responsibility of being the head coach here in Milton comes with a lot of pressure because of our tradition we have here. So I'm proud I've been a great part of your guys' staff. In a closing, excuse me, throughout I mentioned many people tonight. There are a lot more here deserves the credit, and I probably have not said their name, but thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you again to all my classmates, town of West Milton, who supported our teams, for those who trusted me to coach their kids through all these years. And thank you for those who pushed me to be my best and made it all fun for me. I got a simple philosophy. My grandpa told me years ago. Do your best. No matter what it is, do your best. Sports, playing sports, coaching, being a husband, being a father, work, whatever. Do your best. And then you hang your head up high. It's good to be back home in West Milton. I live in Kansas now. I was telling a couple guys, the roads is very nice, but we got corn stalks out there. And it was good to see a lot of guys I hadn't seen for a while, and I really appreciate that. Once a bulldog, always a bulldog. And I follow every Saturday morning and turn on the internet and see how our dogs did. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, you kind of lowballed that shot against Northmont. That was we hadn't beat them in forever. And I think we were coming off an 0-19 season the year before. So, and then the other thing I want to make sure of that I did inspect Kent's shoes before it came up, because we had an incident with an honoree having a disintegrating shoe a few years ago, and it was Coach Overman. So I looked at Kent's and they seem to be fine. So I don't think we'll have any problem.
I got it under control.
Okay, that's good. Our second honoree today is Andy White, class of 1987. Andy was an 8 varsity letter winner in cross country and track from 1984 to 1987. Considered as one of Milton's all-time great middle distance and cross country runners, Andy was a 4-time Southwestern Rivers Conference champion in track, 3 consecutive years in the 1,600 meter run. In his senior year, he doubled that 1,600 meter record-setting win by also winning the 800 meter championship. That same year, Andy became the district and regional champion in the 1,600 meters, setting records in those events. That year, he added a 3rd trip to the state track championships in the 1600s, and in 1987, he finished 3rd in the state at that distance. He continues to hold the MU record in the 1,600 meter run. He was the 1987 SRC cross-country champion as well, setting an MU record for the cross-country distance that year and qualifying for the state cross-country league. Post-high school, Andy took his talents to the next level, earning 2 varsity letters in cross-country and track at Kent State University, then ending up his collegiate career at Eastern Kentucky, where he also won varsity letters and was a member of the 2-time Ohio Valley Conference cross-country championship team. Andy chose to impart his knowledge to the next generation of runners. He's been the cross-country and track coach at Vandalia Butler High School for the past 28 years, coaching 2 state champions and numerous all-state runners. At this time in my speeches, I usually try to relate a personal experience I've had with a Hall of Famer. And in your case, Andy, I remember your smooth running style and how you were such a gritty performer on the track. I will also say that I saw you play basketball.
Not so good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Andy White.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say I'm very excited to be here. My kids that I coach every year, so I wing on all my speeches. So whatever comes in my head is what comes out. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. I'm also very passionate and very emotional on the things that I do. So a lot of times my teams always laugh at me because I do get choked up when I talk. So I have a feeling if I get through this without getting choked up, I mean that'll be a good thing. But if I do get choked up, it means something to me. So I can't, when you said about the going to the coaches clinics, I just came back from the track coaches clinic yesterday. Still got a little headache from that. So anyway, I want to start off by congratulating all the inductees. I mean, it's a great thing. So congratulations. I'd like to also thank the committee for allowing myself to get into the Hall of Fame, which is just a tremendous thing. A little overwhelmed by the people here and seeing some of the faces I haven't seen for a while. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, funny thing is Steve Huffman called me in the summer. I'm like, oh no, who died? He's a coroner. So I was like, why is Steve Huffman, the coroner, calling me? But then he informed me that I was in the Hall of Fame, and that was a much better call than I was expecting. So I'd like to thank my parents are here. They came from Florida. They got to fly in, see the snow, see the cold, even though today kind of is like Florida. But my parents are here. That was great. That's great that they're here. We were kind of a track family. My dad was a long-time track official. My mom always helped out at Rita's Kitchen, and she always would check in teams at districts. She would do before we had the computer time and stuff, she would do a lot of the typing for Coach Beard and get ready for the districts and stuff like that. So, and then my sister ran cross country also, my sister Teresa. So, I mean, all the love and support they've given me has been pretty awesome. So, also, I got a lot of family here. Thanks for coming. I'm not going to, because we'll be here all day, but thanks for my family for coming out and supporting me with this. So I'm glad to see you guys had all made it. So that's pretty cool. And then I got my two sons, Lance and Aiden, who freshman and junior in high school. I always told them I was pretty good. They never believed me. So here I am, I guess. Maybe now they can at least understand a little bit that I was kind of good. Maybe now they can be proud of their pops. So I think that's pretty awesome. Got some best friends here: Dwayne, Steve, Scott Fogel, the mayor, Scott Fogel. Everybody knows the mayor, Scott Fogel. They're no better friends. I think Steve drove up today from South Carolina. He's balmy, South Carolina. So it's great to have you guys here. Wonderful, awesome friends. I got teammates here: Alan Jones, Matt Helmick. I think that's, for the people who I run with. They talk about the loneliness of a distance runner. It's much better with somebody else. It's much better to be able to go out and run with a group, because who are you going to talk about girls with, and then who are you going to talk about who's winning the Atari? You see, Atari. This is back in 1987. So what games on Atari are you going to play today afterwards? And then we would run from, I don't think Kenny Beard knew this, but we would run from the high school to our house on Dewar Drive. We would play Nerf basketball. Remember those Nerf basketball games? And then we would run back. It's still probably a 5-6 mile run. So, but you have to have great teammates. You have to have great teammates, because they're the ones who, one, keep you in check, but they're the ones who push you every day. They push you, and we had some battles on the track. We had a nice little group of people that we got after it. We got after it, ran hard. And there was one time that I forget who it was, but they couldn't pass me on one of the intervals, so they just shoved me to the inside of the track. So, it was kind of a little bit of cutthroat there. But I think it was Jerry Lobenstein, if people remember him. But anyway, great teammates. I had great coaching. Kenny Beard, hey, let's everybody take a little time and throw a little prayer out to Kenny. He couldn't be here tonight, but he was a great coach. Very, a lot of, my accomplishments and stuff go back to Kenny. So, great coach. Not only that, Kenny Beard is the reason we have the best track and field facility in the state of Ohio out there. The best. And this was back in 1987. Small schools like Milton did not have track facilities like that. And it's a track-only facility. People will say, Milton's a football school, Milton's a basketball school. Back then, Milton was a track school, because we were supposed to only have dual meets, tri-meets. 6 or 7 teams would just show up because everybody wanted to run on our track. We were the only one that had the fully rubberized, fast track. Everybody wanted to run on that. Hell, we never went anywhere. We stayed. I don't think we ever traveled. So, and then this is coming from, I'm old enough that my first year, we ran on a 1-lane cinder track, and it was 1 lane because the rest of it was covered in grass. So 1-lane cinder track over there by where the football field is now. You get that done with a workout, you look like a coal miner. Your face was black, your arms were black, your legs were black. So I got to experience that. That was pretty awesome. Then the next year, though, we have this, it was like the Taj Mahal of tracks and facility. Not only that, you have the woods, I've probably run thousands of miles back there in those woods. So for a distance runner, beautiful track. The woods were great. You cannot ask for a better situation. It was awesome. And I came in at the right time, because I came in right at that. Mike Meredith, I know he's sitting over there. He's done a great job taking over after Kenny. But, when you're going to Milton, you're going to have a great track meet, and you're going to get out of there before it's dark, because it has to, because there's no lights. But because of that, we always had really good officials, and they ran a very efficient meet. And some of these meets we go to, they're horrible. And we're there forever because they're so slow. But Mike Meredith learned from Kenny, who they continued with that. And not only that, we have one of the biggest cross-country meets every year, the Bob Schul Invitational. So that leads me into my next thing. I was very fortunate because Bob Schul, at the time, Milton's greatest alumnus, him and his running team, because we had this beautiful track, they were out there running. And I got to meet him when I was very young, probably freshman, sophomore year. So I had Kenny Beard as a coach. I got to meet Bob Schul, and I spent a lot of time with him because I ran with him a lot. But not only that, they had like some of the best runners in the country, because he had, at that time, he had Olympic trial qualifiers in the marathon, the 10K, the 5K. He had a sub 4-minute miler. I was a miler. I loved that. I mean, I couldn't run with them, but you know what what I would do? I would talk to those guys, and some of those guys I still talk to all the time. So, but that shaped me being an athlete, and I mean, that really helped out. And from that, I was able to run fast. I wish I would have ran faster. I was able to do well. I wish I'd have done a little bit better. I mean, and then, but I mean, and I was able to set some records. I think I still have one sitting out on that board, which, you know, that's exciting too, because this has been, I can't believe 36 years have gone by that nobody's run faster than 4:19, because I don't really think that's that fast. But anyway, I guess it is. But so, I mean, I have a lot of great, I mean, basically, track and field and starting at Milton with all the support that I have has made me what I am. And that is, I mean, everything from it. So I was able to get my college paid for, so that helped. That was awesome. I had a fascination of like anatomy, physiology, how the human body works, human performance. So I became an occupational therapist. So, and then from that, I mean, I was able to run in college, got some great experiences with that. Then I was able to go run, and then I got Bill Overla. Everybody know Bill Overla? So he was at the time at Vandalia Butler, said, hey, so why don't you come over and coach? So, the greatest thing for me that I've ever got out of track and field was meeting my wife, who was the coach at the time. And we coached together for 10 years. She was a great track and field coach, but she's now principal over in Vandalia at the middle school and the high school. But that's where we met, you know, and from track and field, you know, and then so, I mean, that's my greatest gift of the sport. So, thank you for that. Anyway, I knew I was going to do this. Kept telling myself I would not, but that's how I am. You know, it's just part of it. I'm passionate. I'm excitement and passion. Talk a mile a minute, run a mile a minute. I mean, just like all that stuff. So that's just kind of how it is. But I think if I look back on it, though, there's a lot of people out here who, I mean, had their hand in me being up here. So I thank you for that. It's a great community to run in. It was a great. I mean, again, track and field was the real deal back then, but it was all because of Kenny Beard and the Milton-Union Track Club and all that they put into it. I mean, I couldn't be more proud to be a Milton-Union track guy, because, I mean, it's awesome. So when we get on the bus, and if anybody's listened to my phone, if you ever heard my message on my phone, and every time I get on the bus to go to a meet, I always get on there and I say, kids, it's a great day to run fast. Every day is a great day to run fast. Take advantage of it and get after it and go. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with that. It's a great day to run fast. I have one other thing. Who they think on the Beacon Bengals. Thank you so much.
I'm going to recognize two other Hall of Fame members I saw. Doug Studebaker is here, and also Steve Huffman did show up. And I want to correct you. Steve is not the corner. I am the corner.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was a good story, though.
Right. Steve was elected to a lesser position.
All right. But that was a good story, though, wasn't it?
That was good.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Steve.
Next up is Maria Denardo from the class of 2003. Maria was awarded 10 varsity letters in volleyball, basketball, and track. She was a standout three-sport athlete during her Milton-Union career and was able to carry 2 of them to a collegiate experience. As a volleyball player, Maria was a 2-year starter and played in 49 consecutive matches, starting every set of every match. She ended her career in the top 10 in kills and the top 5 in career blocks. Her 238 kills in 2002 was the 5th highest total in Milton-Union history at the time of her graduation. She was twice elected to the All-Estevigale team and was twice voted All-District. She was the MVP of her 2002 team. Statistically, her career ranks in the top 10 in MU history. And she took her volleyball ability to Denison University, where she won a varsity letter as a freshman. Maria was an All-Estevigale performer in basketball as well, ending her career in the top 25 in career scoring and in the top 10 in career rebounding. She led her 2002-2003 team in both scoring and rebounding. In track, she was a notable middle distance runner and high jumper, normally participating in the 400 meters and 800 meter individual races, and then the relay teams as well. She was part of teams who participated in the regional track championships all 4 of her high school years. Maria also participated in track collegiately at Denison. Her story, however, isn't all about sports. She faced a lot of obstacles, particularly in her senior years, that most senior athletes don't have to face. She persevered and developed an engaging and very unique personality that endears her even now to those of us who are fortunate enough to know her. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Maria Denardo.
Thank you, Duncan. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. I'm nervous. I'm pregnant. I'm trying not to get sick. So let's see if we can get through this together. This feels really surreal to me. I don't think I deserve this. And I'm also going to be real emotional. I wouldn't be up here without the players. I tell you, I'm going to blame pregnancy hormones. I wouldn't be up here without my teammates and without the coaches that I was really blessed to have. And I am really honored to be up here with all of you today, and I mean that. I wasn't a sports person. I didn't come from a sports family. I was really nerdy. I read like poetry books. And I happened to run into Dickie. I don't know if you remember that Dickie in the hallway when I was in 6th grade. I literally ran into her in pink. And they looked me up and down because I was a real scrawny, 6-foot-tall 6th grader. Imagine that. And she said, "Who are you? What grade are you in? How tall are you? Have you ever touched a volleyball?" And she said, "Do me a favor. Next year, go out for volleyball. And if you don't like it and you don't have fun, you don't have to go out again. Just give me 1 year." And there was something about the way she looked at me, like I had potential, like she believed in me. So I wasn't going to disappoint her. And anybody who ever played for Dickie knows when Dickie asks you to do something, you do it. So I sure went out for volleyball. It was the slowest train wreck you've ever seen. The simplest drills, the ball would come over the net. All I had to do was bump the darn thing. And instead it would knock me straight in the face and I'd fall over like a bowling ball pin. And it kept happening over and over. It would hit me in the shoulder, it hit me here. I was a mess. And Dickie was watching the whole thing. Imagine that, a varsity coach at a 7th grade tryout. She calls me over and I'm sweating. I'm thinking she's going to tell me to take a hike. Like, thank you, but no thanks. So I won't look at her in the face and I'm just looking at my feet. And I feel her eyeballs staring at my head. And she goes, "See that banner up on the wall there? Remember when the banners were up on the wall?" She said, "Can you read that for me?" I said, "No, ma'am, I can't." "How about this one, a little closer? Can you read that one?" Shook my head. She goes, "When was the last time you got your eyes checked?" Every single day she checked up on me. Did you get your eyes checked yet? Did you go to the doctor yet? Day after day. And I didn't have the guts to tell her that I didn't have the money to do that, and I didn't know how to do that, and I didn't ask for help. And one day she came in and said, I got it approved, I'm going to take you to my doctor. And by God, she took me to her own eye doctor. Remember that, Dickie? She said, the doctor came out, showed the prescription, she goes, yep, can't see a thing. She said, you can pick out one glasses from this row here. The entire time I drove home, because I hadn't seen my whole life and I didn't know that people could see like that, I don't think I said a word in the car. Does anybody have a water? I'm so pregnant, sorry. Thank you. Bear with me, I'm so sorry. Thank you. So the entire car ride home, my eyes are glued to the window because she didn't just help me see better, she helped me see the world different and people different that a complete stranger would give two craps about a little kid. Later when I ran track, I had about the worst shoes you ever did see, and they smelled like swamp gas. I think you could smell them all the way down the hall. They were men's shoes because my feet were so big. And I had tied them so tight, and then I tied the strings around my leg just to keep the shoes on. And my toes kept coming out, so then I put duct tape around the toes. And this is the beauty of growing up here in West Milton. Nobody made fun of me. Not one person. So what's wrong with your shoes? One day I'm at the track and we're running sprints and I hear my name on the loudspeaker and I run up to the box and Dickie and Coach Beard are up there. And they said, I don't know if you know this, but every year we pick an MVP. And this year we chose you. And Dickie must have seen the look on my face because she goes, do you even know what MVP means? Then she said, it means the most valuable player. And for a little girl who had no self-esteem, I was just told I was valuable. And then she said, you know there's a prize for being MVP. She looks down at my swamp feet and she says, it's a new pair of shoes. That was the beauty about Dickie, is even when she helped me, she let me keep my integrity and my pride. She never embarrassed me. That was the first pair of shoes she bought me, and she continued to buy my shoes through my senior year. When I was in high school, the strange thing happened where the better I got at sports, the more accolades I got. I was a straight A student, captain of this, captain of that. I wasn't the kid that you would look at and say, she's troubled, she has a broken home life. Dickie was one of the only adults courageous enough to say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Don't BS me, how you really doing? She never gave up on me. She continued to help me in a lot of ways, y'all. Sometimes we'd go to, remember those $7.99 all-you-can-eat buffets? She'd take me on my lunch period and we'd go there and she would ask me about my childhood, what was happening in my home. And she would just give me her time and attention. She wasn't looking at who else was in the restaurant. She wasn't looking at her cell phone. I don't even know if we had cell phones back then. That was the best gift she ever gave me, her attention. Later, when as Doc said, I went through some trouble. I was one of the few high schoolers who eventually lived in an apartment by myself. Dickie would shit. Dickie would leave boxes of food outside my door. Later, when I got a letter from Denison saying, hey, we want you, I showed Dickie the letter and I said, well, what do I do with this? I hadn't really thought about my future. I was too overwhelmed with the present. And Dickie said, well, you want to go up there? And we hopped in her car and she did the college tour with me. Remember that? She asked all the questions a parent would ask. When I decided I wanted to go there, I had a real hard time getting the application done. And she kept checking up on me because that's what Dickie does. You done with that application yet, Maria? Due date's happening soon. One day she said, I want you to bring that application. Quit fooling around. So the next day I brought the application. She goes, well, I got all day. Go ahead and sit down. Get started. She's the entire reason I went to college. The last story I'll leave you with changed my entire life. I was playing a volleyball game, and most of the athletes and coaches in this room will know sports kind of give you a healthy outlet for aggression, and you get applauded for getting real rough. But sometimes those of us who needed to let it out got a little out of control. And there was one volleyball game that a girl across the net was trash talking me, and that's all I needed to fight. I was like, bring it. But I got a little out of control and I snapped. And everything that was happening in my home life came crashing down in that one game. And I very purposely, I'm really ashamed to say this, I very purposely spiked the ball right in her face. Her nose was bleeding, everybody was crowding around her. It stopped the game. That would have been a perfect time to feel real bad about myself, feel a little empathy. And instead, I was on fire. I kept going. I was like trash talking her still while she's sitting there bleeding, acting a fool. Dickie doesn't even hesitate. She yanks my butt right out of that game. She literally grabbed my jersey, gave me the most lethal stare I'd ever seen, quieted me real quick. I sat on the bench the whole time, just kind of looking at her from the side of my eye, and she won't look at me, and I knew I'd really messed up. And as my adrenaline was coming down and rational thinking was coming back online, I thought, oh, I'm in big trouble. I really messed up. At the end of the game, all the players are going out into the locker room, and I hear her yell my name with the force of God. And I turned around, shaking, and she just goes, sit down. Now, Dickie comes up to me about here, but her presence takes up the whole room, so I was real scared. A lot of coaches would have taken the easy way out. They would have made me run stairs, pulled me from games. Dickie has a knack as a volleyball coach of speaking the language that you need to hear, and she does the most effective, efficient thing, and sometimes it's the most least expected thing. So instead of punishing me, she doled out a different punishment that was a lot more effective. She sat about 2 feet from my face, and she said, Maria, if you keep running from your past, pushing down your feelings, not dealing with your pain, you will become the very thing that you're afraid of. She said, tonight, you became somebody I didn't recognize. You were hurting and you hurt somebody else. I don't ever want to see that from you again. She said, only you can figure out who you want to be. Nobody else can do the work for you. So sit your butt down and think about it. And don't get up till you made a decision. And then she walked away. She floated away like an angel. She says, no. I'm not kidding y'all when I say some strange like tectonic shift happened in me that day, because I made up my mind that I was going to live a life that made Dickie proud of me. because I never wanted to see that look again. So I want to dedicate this award to Sally Dickinson. Thank you for seeing me for who I was and for who I could be, and for never giving up on me when a whole lot of people did. You were the best mother I ever had. Thank you.
I think we should all take a drink of water after that one. Ooh, Maria. Holy smokes. Woo. All right. Our fourth and final honoree is Kaci Finrock Matthews, class of 2009. An extremely versatile athlete, Kaci earned 9 varsity letters in basketball, soccer, cross country, and tennis. In Kaci's case, the term versatile is so fitting because not only was she able to participate in and letter in 4 separate sports, she also excelled in all those sports. She only played tennis her senior year, but was named All-Southwestern Buckeye League at second singles, placed second in doubles at the sectional tournament, and was co-MVP of her tennis team that season. Her cross-country teams in 2006 and 2007 participated in the state tournaments during those seasons. However, it was the sport of basketball where Kaci established a career that has had no equal to date. Let me start off by saying that Kaci was her basketball team's MVP 4 times, every year from her freshman to her senior year. It had never happened before Kaci's time. It has never happened since. She ended her career with more points, more assists, and more minutes played than any other player in MU history, and those records still stand. She was a 4-time All-SWBL performer and was SWBL Player of the Year during her senior season in 2008-2009. Well, did I mention she set and still holds a single-game scoring record for girls basketball with 43 points versus Eaton. She made 9 3-pointers in that game, which is an MU record for both girls and boys. Post-high school, Kaci moved on to play basketball at Ashland University, where as a 4-year player, she was a part of the Eagles NCAA Division II National Championship team in 2013. Kaci currently coaches tennis at Tippecanoe, which I consider the only smudge on an otherwise spotless record. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Kaci Finrock Matthews.
I'm not 6 foot tall. Hi everyone. Thank you, Doc, for that introduction. I know every school has a stat guy, but I don't think any school has a stat guy like our stat guy. Doc Ginn, it would not be a home game if you and your wife were not in attendance sitting up at the top of the bleachers. So thank you for all that you do for our school and our student athletes. I would also like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me to become a part of the rich athletic tradition here at Milton. There is so much that happens behind the scenes to host this amazing event. Thank you to our AD, Mark Lane, for continuing this long-standing tradition. Also, a real quick shout out to Lori Meyer for the countless informative emails, as well as inviting all of my guests here tonight. If you know me, you know I'm not the most organized person all the time. And because you made it here on time and you received a nice invitation letter in the mail on time, it was because of Lori Meyer. So thank you, Lori. I would also like to congratulate my fellow inductees. Kent, I'm sorry to say that I teach at TIP, so go Devils on this one. Yeah, congratulations on all of your athletic achievements. I have to say, the more I learn about Milton athletic history, the more I understand what it means to be a small town with a big tradition. My induction speech tonight is going to read like a long thank you letter. Promise it won't be too long, hopefully. But first and foremost, I would never be standing here before you without the unconditional love and support from my parents, Diana and Kevin Finrock. They blessed me with the opportunity to follow my passions, even when those passions changed seasonally, which unfortunately for them meant buying me new gear every year or every season. I went from cross country to soccer, basketball to AAU, and then from track to tennis. The only constant was their support in every passion, dream, or goal I set for myself. When my dad learned that I had a goal to play college basketball one day, he took that and ran with it. He signed me up for the MU Select basketball team. Found the best AAU coach and program in the state. Shout out to my AAU coach, Coach Hutchison, and the Dayton Metro team. And then he poured a concrete slab in the backyard so that I could have an entire half court to practice. He was a very passionate and singular focused man. So, he would also used to take me to go watch the men's or the boys basketball team growing up. And on that team was a star player, star shooter, Rusty Burner, who's now our boys head coach. And I can remember watch after one of the games, I was like, man, I just want to be able to shoot the ball like that guy. So I didn't know how to express the fact that I just really envied the guy and I wanted to be just like him. So what I did was I went and had my mom buy this pure white sweatsuit from Walmart. And this thing was just like the cotton blend, just sweatshirt, sweatpants. And I decorated this thing with colored basketballs with Sharpies and wrote Rusty Burner's name all over it. And then she brought me over to his house and he was out. You know, his mom made him go out there and sign my top and my bottoms. And I don't know where those things are, but I wish I did, Rusty. But thank you for entertaining a very small, probably 7-year-old Kaci Finrock at the time. So thank you so much. Now as an adult, I know how much my parents sacrificed for me so that I could chase my dreams of becoming a college basketball player. The money they invested in my AAU, hotel rooms, gear, and countless weekends spent at tournaments allowed me the opportunity to go on and play college basketball at Ashland University. Both my parents were competitors themselves. One of them is on the wall, Hall of Fame wall at Covington, and one is on the Hall of Fame wall here. Last name is Broomball. I don't know if you guys know that name. But if you don't worry, I got some cousins coming up, some nephews and a niece, so they're on their way. One of the many quotes my dad used to say to us kids was, "Hard work is always rewarded," and those words still hold true. In 2019, a few days prior to my father's passing, he and my mom attended the Milton-Union Hall of Fame. I was told that after the ceremony, he had gone to the AD and asked how he could nominate me. I don't know who nominated me tonight, but I know my dad is thankful that you did. And I definitely believe that he is relieved that he didn't have to fill out all the paperwork. Thank you to my brother and sister, Jake and Jesse Finrock, for their constant support over the years. As long as we were not competing against each other, we're good. Someone once asked me how I knew how to play so many sports growing up. My answer is that is because I had a fun childhood. It was my brother, myself, and 5 neighborhood boys who just competed in everything that we did. From pickup basketball games in our backyard, to street hockey in front of the Brewbakers, baseball games at Kurt and Kevin Brackman's house, which remember John Brackman used to have to come out there and break that game up every once in a while. And backyard football at the Zelinskis. It was supposed to be 2-hand touch, but it never was. Getting chased by boys who saw you as their equal and wanted to take your head off will teach you to run faster real quick. Add in Steve Broomball tennis lessons in the evenings, and then summers spent at the Broomball Athletic Training Grounds, aka the cabin, and basically my entire childhood was a competition. The older I get, the more I know how much the Lord blessed my life with the family He gave me. My grandparents were always so supportive of me and my siblings. Grandpa George used to drive me to AU practices at Carroll High School when my dad was coaching, my mom was flying. He would always take me to get a large Jamocha shake from Arby's after every practice, but only if I went hard. Only if I was sweating, he said. My grandma Terry always gave me the biggest hug after games, and I used to look forward to them, especially after a bad game. She never said anything other than, "You did great, sweetie," which was nice because I didn't always get to hear that from everyone. My grandpa Phil introduced me to my first ever Bengals game back when I was 11 years old. He took me with him. I have been a devout fan ever since, and it's been fun watching the Bengals' success the past 2 years with him. We're hoping for another win tomorrow. Who dey? And the late, great Grandma Broomball. What an amazing woman she was. She was the rock of our family and definitely held us all together. She was an active tennis player and taught all of her kids, who in turn taught their kids how to play tennis. She was the ultimate competitor, always either making crazy games out of wood no one could win, organizing a family doubles tournament, or getting the equipment ready with endless amounts of duct tape at the cabin so we could play. We always broke all of our equipment, so she had like loads of duct tape ready. She was a great role model for me growing up. A special thank you to all the amazing coaches I've had over the 4 years of high school. Each one of them taught me a life lesson, and I would not be the person or coach that I am today without their guidance, support, and of course the tough love that I seem to need just about every season. Thank you to my amazing coaches, Mike Meredith, Coach Sarver, Nate Kopp, Coach Brackman, Coach Evans, Sharon Paul, and my AAU coach, Steve Hutchinson. The time that you all invested into me will never be forgotten. Also, I would just tell you that I hated running. I ran cross country for 4 years, 2 in junior high and 2 in high school, and 2 seasons of track. The only reason I did that, 2 reasons why. Number 1, Marie Boone and Emily Antonides. And the only other reason was I loved annoying Meredith so much. So, make it hurt. Alright. I wanted to share a memory of the famous MU tennis coach Sharon Paul. After 3 years of Coach Paul nicely suggesting that I join the tennis team, I finally joined the team my senior year, and I have to say, I wasn't used to preseason conditioning being one jogging lap around the court. I took it upon myself to make the girls do a couple more laps, and then included an ab workout afterwards. After practice, she told me that I was officially the conditioning coach, because if it wasn't coming from up here, the girls would probably quit. That little taste of coaching and that role that Sharon allowed me to play on the team that year started me down the path of becoming a teacher, coach, and a better leader myself. Coach Paul always came to watch me play basketball, and I always knew where I could find her, sitting right next to Jean and Coach Dickey. It was the little things that she did that made her one of the best coaches I ever had. A special shout out to my high school PE teacher, Dana Dickinson. Dana said something to me once that I'll never forget, and that made me think he was the smartest guy on the planet. After PE class, we would always go over to chat with Coach D on the stage. Me and Elisa would always usually be the ones to talk to him. I loved those talks. Even when I would tell him about the basketball game the night before, and basically the only question that he would ask me is, did I remember to pass the ball? He kept me humble every day, all 4 years. So a kid once asked him, he goes, so it's your job to play games all day? And his response was, yep. And I get paid the same amount as every other teacher grinding over their papers. What a legend. So you could say he inspired me to become a coach or a PE teacher as well. We all choose our professions in life, folks. Last but never least, to the girls who made my high school experience so successful and fun. They were not only my teammates, but some of my best friends. I had many amazing teammates throughout the years and throughout every season in sport. On the basketball court, I was blessed to play with a core group of motivated and competitive girls. We were called the Sensational Seven our senior year. Elisa Feathers, Lauren Sergi, Maggie Bussey, Devin Wilson, myself, and my right-hand woman, Alicia Hellman. What a ride those 4 years were. Some of the best memories I have were not on the court, but the ones we made in the locker room, on the bus, at school dances, bonfires, and going sledding down the big hill after a win. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of my favorite memories on the basketball court, though. I will never forget hosting Oakwood at home and watching Maggie Bussey sink 2 free throws and then 2 more for us to win that game. The coolest part about that win was the celebration of our team afterwards and our fans going nuts. I loved beating Oakwood. I still love beating Oakwood. Beating Oakwood's great. We had a great community following that year, and it was so much fun playing in front of packed stands every night. I can remember talking with Charlie and Phyllis Taylor after every game, and of course, the TBC Club, Terry, Barb, and Carol, who put all of our faces on t-shirts and wore them to every game. They kept telling us kids that we need to go to their summer camp, which no one should have ever attended that. They were old ladies, could not dribble the ball. I will also never forget the motivation and focus of our team after reading a newspaper article, quote, from our rival that year, Brookville. You could say our preparation at practice all week was pretty focused. The game came down to a final second shot. I can remember driving down the left-hand lane and watching Alicia pop out to the left-hand corner. Her defender stayed, probably shouldn't have because I didn't have a very good left-handed layup, still don't. But she stayed, and I can remember passing the ball to Alicia without hesitation. She squared up and knocked the shot down. The place went nuts. I remember our team celebrating afterwards, after that game, and Coach Brackman just downstairs in the locker room, just, you know, playing it up and saying we're the best. And that newspaper article, he brought it down into the locker room. He showed it to all of us, and he said, "False." And you know, I'll never forget that memory and that journey we took as seniors together. That was very special. I will forever be thankful for Alicia and my teammates. I know I would not be standing up here in front of all of you without all of Alicia's rebounds and the second chance opportunities my teammates gave me over the 4 years. I have realized that the most important thing in life is forming and creating positive relationships. I am so thankful for the relationships that I made through sport here at Milton-Union. I owe this small town so much. Thank you, and go Dogs.
Let's have a round of applause for all of our leaders. Really great speeches. Goodness, you got your money's worth tonight. That was like 4 of the best speeches we've ever had. Holy smokes. All right, well, it's time to do some housekeeping here a little bit. So after our invocation, which Scotty Johnson will be doing here in just a few minutes, we ask that all the Hall of Famers who are here, please go over to the south part of the cafeteria, and we're going to take your picture there on those risers. Please kind of do that in a hurry so you can get that out of the way, because after that we'll start eating. Hall of Fame members and their Hall of Fame inductees and their families will be the first in line. So once you're called to go, you folks go first, and then the rest of us will just follow it in an orderly fashion. We also have a 50-50 drawing, and there'll be some students circulating around. There they are back there. They look eager. Please partake in that if you would. It's $1 for 1 ticket and 6 tickets for $5. Help support the Hall of Fame. There will be some time to take friend and family pictures after the meal, and remember there will be additional time to take pictures in the lobby after our Hall of Fame presentation at the game. If you miss your pictures here, we can get them at another time. I also would like to recognize our program sponsors at this time: Broomball Engineering and Surveying, B&M Family Enterprises, Coat Concrete Products Incorporated, Crest Wealth Strategies, Sensational Barbers, Hamler Gingrich Insurance, Insurance Consultants, D.W. Kendall Insurance, Law Science Technologies Incorporated, McGrath's Service Center, Milton-Union Cross Country, the Milton-Union Football Parents Association, Milton-Union Medical Center, the Milton-Union Track Club, Revive It Home Decor and Restoration, and School Insurance Consultants, LLC. These individuals and companies have made contributions to the Hall of Fame and help us put on this program every year. The Hall of Fame receives no financial support from the school itself and relies on fundraisers and donations. If you'd like to be a donor for next year's program, please contact Ron Berner or Mark Lane, and they will tell you how you can be a part of helping us put on this program. I also need to give extra special thanks to Mark, our AD, who's helped us immensely. You may contact him with nominations for future Hall of Famers, with the only stipulation being that the nominees must have graduated 10 years prior to the year of their induction. Our next class is officially the class of 2023. After our meal, if you'd like to watch the basketball game, there is a designated seating area in the gym for Hall of Famers and their families. Please be sure to be in that area as the second quarter of the JV game begins, so that with about 5 minutes left in the game, we can gather you together and have our presentation out on the court. So try not to be wandering around too much, especially you four, when we need you out on the court. After the presentation in the gym, all of this year's inductees will proceed to the lobby, and we'll have a little picture-taking session in front of the Hall of Fame display, where if you want to take groups pictures, family pictures, and things like that in front of the display, you are welcome to do that then. And then after that's all complete, if you'd like to stay for part of the boys varsity game, you may. If you want to leave, that's okay too. There's no, you're free to go at any time you want to leave. All right, now I'd like to introduce Scott Johnston, who will give our invocation.
All right, let's bow our heads and give thanks. Our Heavenly Father, bless us as we gather for this banquet. And you take that we are again permitted to gather in this fellowship. May our friendship be strengthened and our lives be broadened. And as we give you thanks for this food, we ask that you bless it to our bodies and your bodies to your service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, that concludes our ceremonies here in the cafetorium. If all the Hall of Famers are present will now move over that direction, we'll get your pictures here. Thank you. You're in it now, buddy.
I'm sure you worked here. Yeah. The same energy.
And don't forget your pens, guys.
So you want us?
Yeah, everybody over there. Yep, everybody over there.
That's awesome.
So we
The energy back there.
Yep.